Hey YouTube, I've been meaning to make this video for some time, as this is probably the one that will have the greatest impact on your financial wealth over the long term. In 40 years time, I want you to end up like these guys, old and loaded as f***. To keep it really simple, I'm going to give you 3 scenarios and ask the same question. Assuming in all 3 scenarios you get the same 7% return each year, where do we end up age 60? And I'm using 7% as that's the long-term average from the stock market, FYI. So scenario 1 is Alexandra. Right off the bat, from her first grad job, she starts saving 5k a year into her pension. And so when I showed this to my wife, she immediately told me to get lost. Like, who the hell could afford to save that? I then pointed out that actually for the first 5 years of my career, I was doing this. I was actually being paid, give or take, about 30 grand a year, and I used to pay in about 10% of that into my pension. And my company topped up another 7%. So if you do the maths on that, you get around about 5 grand a year that you're saving into your pension. So trust me, it's doable. You won't even notice it coming out of your paycheck each month because it's taken off before the money hits your account. I mean, it will make you boring as shit amongst your peer group, so I wouldn't bring it up too often, but just stay with me on this exercise. Scenario number 2 is Ben. We all know Ben. He just wants to go to Thailand, move drugs and live in a yurt for a decade, and he has to come back to reality and become an estate agent. Ben also bought tickets to Fire Festival, but promises as soon as he hits 31, moves out of his mum's loft and starts making bank, he'll pay in 5 grand a year into a pension. Our third scenario, and last but not least, we have Claire. Claire's a boss lady. She's smashing glass ceilings, snapping necks and cashing checks. She doesn't start saving into her pension until 31, and to make up for lost time, she's going to start paying in 9k a year. That's 4k more a year than Alexandra back in scenario 1. So where do we end up, age 60? Well, Alexandra has nearly £1 million saved up. Ben, not half as much. Delaying it by a decade has cost him about £500,000. But here's a surprising one. Claire, who pays in a total of 70k more than Alexandra, is still worse off because she started a decade late. If you don't believe me, here's the maths. Alexandra at 31 has done most of the heavy lifting early on. She already has 78k invested when Ben and Claire are just starting out, putting her ahead of the pack, and thanks to compound interest, it just snowballs to nearly £1 million by 60. So if there's one lesson to take home, it's time is a fantastic asset you don't get twice. You need to get started early. Of course, these scenarios don't take into account anything for wage growth, promotions for anyone and things like that. And what I don't mention is actually you get a tax deduction in the UK for paying into your workplace pension. So personally, I get a tax deduction of 42%. As a UK taxpayer, I save 40% of income tax plus the marginal rate of 2% on national insurance. So that's a total of 42% I'm saving. So technically, paying into a pension is actually a tax efficient way of saving. Although you should know that you will need to pay income tax once you start to receive a pension when you do eventually retire. So that's something just to note. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. I don't even want you to like this video or subscribe to the channel. Just please start paying into your pension, and in like 30 years from now, raise a glass to yourself because you've seen the light, you've taken some action and you're looking after yourself. So cheers and take care.